Where are the Chinese tourists is a question you might be asking yourself if you are currently in the UK. Well, not only has the government just permitted group tourism outside of China to places like the UK about a month ago, but also, there's no incentive to shop anymore. And one thing that Chinese tourists like to do while they are abroad in Europe is purchase their favourite European designer items.
Is anyone else finding the cost of living in England absolutely astronomical? Because, Jesus Christ, I've just come out of Tesco and I've just bought some bits and bobs, basically. I've just filled a bag. And with my club card, it still cost me 74 quid.
How much does it cost to live in China? Well, I've got 2 kids, a wife, and I'm living in this place for 1,000 American dollars a month in one of the most expensive parts of the city. So let's see what you can get. This is in Shenzhen, China.
To all the employees that reside in the UK, I don't think we're offended enough at these salaries. 2 weeks ago, I was literally crashing out. I crashed out to my mum out of sheer frustration at the appalling salaries. These jobs aren't paying. They are not paying. The average UK salary for a full-time worker is £37,000 per year. That is the average, okay? So a 40k salary is just above average. It's only £3,000 more. It's really not much difference. Okay.
Hello, this is your Chinese by Lisa. A lot of American friends has asked me about the cost of living here in China. So today, let me show you how much I spend in a day in a second-tier city in China. First, I'm gonna go grab my breakfast. Only peanut soup and also baozi.
What if everything you thought you knew about China was wrong? Imagine working your entire life in the UK, struggling just to cover your rent and bills, only to find out there's a place where the middle class can actually afford to live comfortably, and it's not in Europe. That's exactly the shock many Europeans in the UK are experiencing right now. They're starting to realize just how affordable and balanced life is in China, and it's making them question whether they've been misled this whole time. This isn't just about cheap products or tourist attractions. We're talking about housing, transportation, healthcare, even food, all at prices that seem unimaginable compared to the UK. And the biggest revelation? The middle class in China isn't just surviving, they're thriving. So, why don't we hear about this? And why is life so hard for the UK's middle class in comparison? Let's go step by step.
I don't know how much longer I can stomach living in this fucking country. I literally am just existing. Just existing right now. I have no fucking motivation to do absolutely anything. Everything seems so fucking pointless. I've literally worked my arse off from the age of fucking 20 to try and actually get somewhere. And what has it fucking got me? I don't have a house, I don't have any kids, I don't have a partner, I don't have fucking anything. This country literally sucks the fucking living life out of you and the living hope out of you like a mosquito. Do you know how fucking hard it is to have every motherfucker around you pretending that everything is fucking okay? It's not okay. It's not going to be okay. It's getting worse and it's going to get worse. I'm so tired of these cunts just fucking hoarding all the wealth and then blaming everyone else for not working hard enough. Like, I literally just want to scream into the fucking void. So many people are just like, yeah, well, what can we do about it? What do you mean, what can we fucking do about it? You're just going to do nothing? You're just going to do nothing? Are you okay with this? Like, is anybody okay with this? I'm saving up and I'm getting the fuck out of it. I'm fucking off. I'm fucking off. I can't do it anymore. I will literally off myself if I fucking stay in this country too much longer. It's so miserable and I'm so fucking miserable and I'm fucking done. I'm fucking done with this bullshit.
To all the employees that reside in the UK, I don't think we're offended enough at these salaries. 2 weeks ago, I was literally crashing out. I crashed out to my mum out of sheer frustration at the appalling salaries. These jobs aren't paying. They are not paying. The average UK salary for a full-time worker is £37,000 per year. That is the average, okay? So a 40k salary is just above average. It's only £3,000 more. It's really not much difference, okay? Only 25% of UK full-time workers are on that. So if your annual salary is £40,000, you are in the top 25%. £40,000 after tax is about 2.6k per month. That's not including your student loan repayments or your pension and whatever else we might be paying. Now, I'm not unique. There is no way I am the only person who crashes out over this. What do you mean everything has gone up? Literally everything, yet the salaries are still where they are. That salary, 37k, was exactly what my grandma was earning when she was working. She earning that back then, that's okay. She owns 2 homes outright now in 2025, outright, no mortgage. We're not doing that. Why? Because the cost of living has skyrocketed. Without our salaries going up too. Why aren't we more offended? Why aren't we offended? You know what? The crash out was actually linked to me being disappointed in myself for being so desperate. Because ultimately, thinking that these salaries are normal, being happy with them, it's a massive symptom of desperation, because it's no money. We're not being paid. We're being shortchanged and being worked like we're in shackles for no money. There are people out there in way easier jobs earning way more than you. That's what I had to accept. It's painful. It's so painful. Overall in the UK, nobody is really making bank. Like, employees are not making money. 25% of us, I'm saying us like I'm one of them, because I'm not. 25%, that's it, on 40k and up. That's not normal. I don't know how much longer I can tolerate this. I genuinely don't know. That's the truth. It's disrespectful, and I know that I'm worth more than that. I'm worth more than what you're offering. I know that. You know that. But here I am. Do you know what I mean? I think we need to have more outrage, more of it, seriously.
It often starts with a trip. Many Europeans in the UK only realize the affordability gap when they visit China for the first time. One person told me they were stunned when their entire dinner for 4, multiple dishes, drinks, and dessert cost less than a single takeaway in London. Another was shocked at how cheap public transport was, especially high-speed trains that put the UK's aging rail system to shame. This is where the brainwashing part comes in. Many people in the UK have been taught, subtly or directly, to believe that China is a place of hardship and low quality of life. But when you actually walk through cities like Chengdu or Hangzhou, you see modern infrastructure, affordable daily living, and a middle class that isn't constantly on the brink of financial ruin.
Hello, this is your Chinese by Lisa. A lot of American friends has asked me about the cost of living here in China. So today, let me show you how much I spent in a day in a second-tier city in China. First, I'm gonna go grab my breakfast. Only peanut soup and also baozi left. I'm getting up late, so I need to rush to take the subway. I ordered takeouts today because my favorite durian pizza is on discount. Guys, guess how much does this cost? A Coke and also 4-inch durian pizza. I finished work since I'm not in a rush, so I'm just gonna walk home. 30 minutes walk, and it's free. For dinner, I'm gonna try one of the most popular rice noodles in China, stinky rice noodles. I finished. Wait, this is not the end of the day. I always feel hungry at 11 p.m., so let's go out and grab some late night snack. Only 60 cents, crazy. Yum, my happy dinner snack. So in total, I spent $9.50, 66 yuan. What do you think? Bye-bye, see you next time.
Is anyone else finding the cost of living in England absolutely astronomical? Because, Jesus Christ, I've just come out of Tesco and I've just bought some bits and bobs, basically. I've just filled a bag. And with my club card, it's still cost me 74 quid. I've bought salad for dinner, some baguettes, some prawns, conditioner. I did buy some hair dye because, you know, Jesus Christ. I can't think what else I've bought. Just general household bits and bobs. Some more mixer for the dogs. 74 quid. I don't know how people can afford to live much longer with the bills the way they're going up. It's absolutely astronomical. I mean, I earn good money. I do earn good money. But £74 for a bag of shopping is just ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Here we are. It's my Sunday afternoon thought for you.
Nowhere is the difference clearer than in housing. The UK faces a full-blown housing affordability crisis. Stagnant wages, skyrocketing property prices, and a shortage of available homes mean many young people and even middle-aged professionals are locked out of the market. Renting isn't much better. Rents are eating up nearly half of the average household income. Meanwhile, in China, the middle class often owns their homes, and they can afford larger apartments with more amenities than their UK counterparts could dream of. While property prices in some Chinese cities have risen, the government has introduced policies to stabilize the market and increase supply. Compare that to the UK, where property developers often focus on luxury flats instead of affordable housing, pushing average families further to the margins. I remember looking at a 3-bedroom apartment listing in a second-tier Chinese city. It was fully furnished, with a modern kitchen and balcony views, for the same monthly cost as a single room in a shared flat in London. That's when I understood why Europeans living in the UK are genuinely shocked when they learn about life in China.
Where are the Chinese tourists is a question you might be asking yourself if you are currently in the UK. Well, not only has the government just permitted group tourism outside of China to places like the UK about a month ago, but also, there's no incentive to shop anymore. And one thing that Chinese tourists like to do while they are abroad in Europe is purchase their favourite European designer items. However, with many nations around Europe to choose from, and also China's recent duty-free paradise, London is no longer looking like a very attractive option. And why is that? Well, this wonderful man decided to remove tax-free shopping for tourists from the UK. And according to Jing Daily, because of this decision, the UK is set to lose $1 billion annually from Chinese tourists. Not the best thing we wanted to hear with the recent state of our economy, but it is what it is, I guess. Countries like Italy, France and Spain, where a lot of these fashion houses even originate, still have tax-free shopping, which leaves the UK as one of the very few European countries to not offer duty-free rates to foreign tourists. Chinese netizens themselves have also been sharing their own opinions on this, with one Weibo user claiming, "I went to Bicester Village yesterday and noticed very few Chinese shoppers. That is a place that has thrived off of mainly Chinese tourists in the past." Another WeChat user claimed, "The more stringent this policy, the poorer the economy." And another user said, "Since there is tax-free policy in Hainan, China, why do I even need to go abroad for shopping?" Fair point. We do have yet to see the renaissance of Chinese tourists entering Europe at this point, as the post-COVID borders there are still warming up. But rules like this really do forecast a different kind of Chinese tourism to come in the future.
So a lot of you guys asked me about the cost of living in China, so I'm going to take you to my local grocery store and show you the prices of some things. Let's go. Right, here we are. Let's start off with the temptation aisle. So the temptation aisle mostly consists of like meaty snacks. Snacks are super cheap. They range from 330 RMB to like maybe 23 or so. Then boxed milk typically ranges between 11 and 15 RMB. And chips are typically around 6 RMB. A 4-liter peanut oil costs 64 RMB. Vegetables are crazy cheap in China. Like less than 3 RMB for half a kilo of this. And a whole bag of edamame beans for less than 7 RMB. I swear at Woolworths I used to pay like 100 Rand for edamame, if not more. Then for a pack of 30 eggs, it is 25.80. Or you can get a pack of 10 for 10 RMB. Fruits, I would say, are pretty affordable. Not cheap, but not expensive. Unless you get durian. That is crazy. 65.82 for a durian. Ugh, I don't like durian. And then things like laundry detergent are really affordable too. This big one costs 60 RMB for 3 kgs, 3.1. A 2 kilogram one costs 37 RMB. And also get Dettol, which is a bit more expensive though. Then with toothpastes, Colgate is about 24 RMB. Say that's probably the same price as back home. Maybe it's even a bit more expensive here. But they do also have Chinese brands that are a lot cheaper, like 12 RMB. Toilet paper is super cheap. You can get this whole pack of, I think it's 10 for 23 RMB. We actually order our toilet paper on an app called Poo Poo, which is actually kind of funny that we order toilet paper on there. But it's actually like a grocery store, an online grocery store. And everything is just so much cheaper on there. So if you live in China, you should look up Poo Poo. And then this is a part of the frozen section. They have a lot of like bao buns for about 16 RMB on average. I wonder if that is sweet potato or red bean. Oh, look at this wrinkly cucumber. I've actually never seen anything like this. I don't know if it is a cucumber, but wild. This is 3 RMB. I don't know if it's per kilo though or per wrinkly cucumber. It's probably per kilo. Well, they have more wild cucumbers. These are new, I think. And they also have prickly cucumbers. I'm getting distracted. And their meats are pretty affordable, about 18 RMB for, I don't know what that is. I don't really eat a lot of meat, so I'm not going to really comment on those prices actually. Bananas are 4 RMB per half kilo. That is so cheap. Then with like shampoos, your Head and Shoulders is quite expensive, 89 RMB. But you can get a local brand for like 22 RMB. So I guess personal preference. So bread is not that big in China. Like this is the entire bread section. Like the whole bread section in the store. They like their little breads. They don't really eat a lot of loaves of bread because I mean this is all they have. The prices of the breads, I don't know what is what, but I mean it's really, really cheap. It's 14 RMB for a pack of 6 mini yogurts. Oh, and their ice creams are super cheap in China as well. Like, look at those prices. 4, 3. Okay, you can tell which ones are the imported ones.
But it's not just housing, it's everything. Groceries, transport, utilities, and even childcare costs significantly less in China. In the UK, energy bills alone can cripple a family budget. Food prices are rising at a pace faster than wages, making weekly supermarket runs feel like a luxury. And we all know about train fares that cost more than flights. In China, the middle class can buy fresh produce daily at neighborhood markets without worrying about breaking the bank. Public transport is not just affordable, it's world-class. And healthcare? While no system is perfect, out-of-pocket expenses in China are often far lower than in the UK, especially for routine care.
Every person I speak to in my age range is thinking about leaving the UK. These are all people born and raised in the UK, educated in the UK, but they're just like, you know what, either A, I can't handle this weather no more, B, the cost of living, or there's just more opportunities abroad. I honestly feel like there needs to be some sort of task force to combat this level of range drain, because these are people who the government has probably spent hundreds of thousands in investing in their education and their healthcare from young, and now that they're at their prime, at their peak, essentially the country doesn't have enough to offer them to keep them around. Potentially even including someone like myself, like I own a business here, I'm thinking about leaving, to be honest, as well, because it's just like, yo, nothing works here, nothing feels right. I also think people don't have a problem paying tax when the services are there. I know people from Scandinavia, they love paying taxes because the services are A1, but out here nothing's working, so you're like, what am I paying for?
What does London offer you more than China, especially culturally and quality of life? So I don't live in London, I live in Manchester. I used to live in Shanghai. I don't like living in big cities. It's a really lonely life. It's really difficult to see your friends, and your life is basically work. I live in Manchester. I have a much closer knit friend group here. So quality of life, UK definitely is better. Also, I really found myself liking living in a small city, like a very, very small, tiny city. You can walk anywhere. You can reach anything you want by foot. That's amazing. Also, work-life balance is better in the UK, I have to admit. But that's because I used to live in Shanghai. Shanghai is really competitive. And companies can get really ageist, especially for tech companies, social media companies, e-commerce companies. You instantly become less valuable to the company once you reach 35. But if you're talking about the convenience of living, obviously China is much better. Cost of living is much, much lower in China. If you're someone who works a remote job from UK and you live in China, that's the best situation. Also, best thing about living in the UK is that you don't have to deal with your relatives. Because if you have Chinese relatives, you know they love to tell you how to live your life. And UK is a more individualistic culture. Family, friends, they tend to respect people's boundaries much more compared to Chinese people. Like, I have an uncle who likes to get drunk and told me to lower my standards so I can be with someone. Culturally, I think UK, China, Europe, US, they all have something different to offer. I do find myself appreciate Chinese culture much, much more since I live in the UK like for such a long time now. I really appreciate anything to do with Chinese culture or inspired by Chinese culture. If I don't live in the UK, it will be more difficult for me to have this conversation with you. And I might not be able to have a platform to talk about Chinese culture like this. And also, let's face it, LGBT plus rights are much better here in the UK. And if you notice, it's mainly the girls and the gays who choose to stay in the UK. It's definitely a little bit of escapism.
Here's the hard truth. Many Europeans in the UK are beginning to feel like they've been lied to. For years, Western media has portrayed China as a place where people struggle, where living conditions are harsh, and where opportunity is scarce. But when they see the reality, vibrant cities, affordable lifestyles, and an empowered middle class, it's a shock. This realization is sparking deeper questions. Why are we not shown the full picture? Why is the UK's middle class struggling so hard just to make ends meet? And why does it feel like the narrative has been intentionally skewed? I remember talking to a friend who moved from the UK to Shenzhen. She told me it felt like she'd been freed from a financial chokehold. Back in London, she was working long hours just to afford rent and bills. In Shenzhen, she could save money, travel, and still have a better standard of living. She said, "I wish I'd known sooner. I wouldn't have believed the media so easily."
Or are you just taking on young people who don't actually fucking want to do their job?
Listen, no hate to this creator at all. She has all of the right to complain about treatment of herself in a restaurant if she wants to. But it's so funny to me that the older generations are starting to realise what's happening with the youth, that we don't want to work because we can't work towards anything. Because the cost of coffee job that would have paid for your house back in the 80s is not even funding them to stay in their mother's home. I need you to imagine a situation with me real quick, okay? You're 21 years old, you've just got a degree because that's what everyone told you to do, right? To come out of uni, you've got a bit of debt, but you're looking for a job. You apply for every single post-grad job that you can. Every job that's going that is in your field, you really want to go into it. You're living back at home because once you move out of uni, where the hell else are you going to go? And you start getting rejection, even a rejection letters enough correspondence because most of the time they don't even answer. And this goes on for about 6 months. And you're thinking, why the hell is no one trying to hire me or even bring me in for an interview? I've applied for over 1,000 jobs in a month. What's going on? What the hell? And then your mum turns to you and is like, listen, if you're going to stay here full time, you're going to need to start bringing in some money, start saving for your own place, right? So then you just start applying for whatever the hell you can. Whatever the hell will take you, you start ringing it through. And for some miracle, Costa Coffee responds and says, yeah, we'll take you for an interview. Now, you've spent 8 months trying to get that interview, so of course you're going to go. It's not in the field you wanted, nowhere near the wage that you needed, but it's a job. So you go in, you do your interview, you get a response, again, very rare, and they hire you. Now, you come in, training's shocking because training standards have gone down even since I first started applying for jobs. So you have no clue what you're doing. Your manager that hired you is underpaid, underfed, probably got a family of 3 that they're trying to support and they can barely do that on a manager's wage. So they're not really going to give an F what the hell you do in that shop as long as you're getting the drinks out. You get your check paycheck at the end of the month after being abused by a customer several times, staying long hours, working probably back-to-back open and closes, and you barely touch your 1.2 a month. Now compare that to the rent prices because they've gone up, right? So realistically, with your 1,200 a month, what are you going to do? Because you've got to start paying off your student loan. How the hell are you going to afford rent and council tax? And what if you drive? All of these things are not covered by the wage anymore. So then you do that for a couple of years, you start saving up, you're touching 25, still living at home, probably got about £800 in your saving because there's nothing else you can, everything is so goddamn expensive. Transport to get to work if you don't drive. If you do drive, my God, our car's expensive nowadays. So you have about 800 in your savings, so you're thinking maybe I could look into a deposit for a flat. You go on Rightmove, and they're looking for at least 3 months, a guarantor, previous rental experience to even consider your application. I know it's a bit of a long one, but the point of my story is they're not going to want to work because there's nothing to work towards. All they continue to do is buy out credit cards so they can at least have a social life to go out with their friends, which they end up paying back. These people up there want to keep the lowest in debt so that they don't do anything. Don't ever begin to think about mortgages. That ain't happening. And then some woman comes onto TikTok who's probably, got a house, decent job, pays the way, got a car, understands what to do with money, and starts slagging off the fact that you want a little bit nicer to her when she came in. It's as I've said, within your right, but it's so out of touch. And you know it is. People don't want to work. We don't want to work anymore because what in the are we working towards? What? Further debt? It's hopeless. But when you were back in your youth, you could go and get a house for 80 grand and it's probably worth what? 250 now? There's nothing to do anymore. They don't want to work because they're not getting paid enough. So they're not going to give you the best service. Like, instead of looking at the young kids that are just trying to make their way through life, you need to start looking at the whole fucking thing. Jesus. But I hope your Black Forest ghetto was alright.
How much does it cost to live in China? Well, I've got 2 kids, a wife, and I'm living in this place for 1,000 American dollars a month in one of the most expensive parts of the city. So let's see what you can get. This is in Shenzhen, China. It's a little bit dirty. We got 2 kids. Little kitchen. Big fridge though. Our living room area, got 3 bedrooms, but turned one bed into a toy room for the kids. One bathroom. Kids' bedroom. They're gonna have their beds next to each other. They're little goobers. Me and my wife's bedroom. This little goober. And of course, the balcony with a great view.
So what happens now? Once you've seen the difference, it's hard to unsee it. Europeans in the UK are asking themselves tough questions. Should I stay in a country where my future feels uncertain, or should I look abroad? Some are already relocating, taking advantage of remote work to live in places where their income stretches further. But the deeper issue is systemic. The UK's cost of living crisis isn't going away on its own. Unless wages rise, housing supply increases, and everyday essentials become more affordable, the middle class will continue to feel squeezed. And the more they learn about affordable lifestyles elsewhere, like in China, the more likely they are to reconsider their future in the UK. This isn't about saying China is perfect or that the UK has nothing going for it. But it's clear that many Europeans in the UK have been kept in the dark about how different life can be. The affordability gap is real, and it's changing how people see their future. So here's the challenge. What would it take for you to feel financially secure, to feel like you're thriving rather than surviving? And if that's not possible where you live right now, is it time to start looking elsewhere? Because the middle class in China isn't waiting. They're already building the lives they want.